Hi everybody, welcome to Arabella's Reading Channel. I'm Arabella and today we will be reading The Book Dragon. Reading was tiresome for Hilda. In fact, reading was tiresome for all the children in Lesser Scrump. Sometimes the schoolmaster, Mr. Percival, taught them letters by scrawling on bark with a stump of charcoal. Sometimes he scribbled words onto a slate with a crumbly rock. Every third Monday, he scraped a whole sentence in the dust of the schoolyard. So that's like, I guess the teacher, and these are all the children. One day, Roshilda said, Mr. Percival, reading would be more fun if the letters and the words were written as stories. We could use paper and ink and then attach the papers together. The children gasped. Mr. Percival sent Roshilda home with a stern note scratched onto a leaf. I wonder why her suggestion was turned down by all the people. Maybe it has something to do with the dragon. Dun, dun, dun. What was wrong with what I said? Roshilda asked her grandfather. Why can't we write on paper? Because of the book dragon, her grandfather said. What's a book dragon? Roshilda asked. Most dragons hoard gold. The book dragon hoards books. Oh. What's a book? Roshilda asked. It's letters and words written on papers that are attached together, her grandfather said. Roshilda knew it. The book dragon lives in a deep cave on Scrump Mountain, nesting on a pile of books nearly as tall as the mountain itself. Her grandfather explained, if any villager brings a book into Lesser Scrump, the book dragon snatches it away that night. So does the book dragon not want the people of Lesser Scrump to read, or is it something else? Mr. Percival, we need books, Roshilda said the next day. I'm not afraid of the book dragon, even if she snatches them away. You may not be afraid, but think of the rest of us, Mr. Percival said. After the book dragon snatches a book, she comes back the next night, knocking on locked windows and terrorizing the entire village. He sent Roshilda home for a whole week with a stern note carved into an old candle stub. That's the candle stub, and that's Roshilda exclaiming. On the walk back, Roshilda met a peddler. Buy my wares, dearie, she said. Roshilda noticed a square red object stamped in gold among the jumble in the cart. She knew just what it was. How much for the book? She asked. What do you have? Asked the peddler. Just an old candle stub, Roshilda said. Sold, said the peddler, knowing the book dragon would snatch any book in Lesser Scrump by morning. So that's the peddler, and that's Roshilda looking at the book. When Roshilda got home, she read a whole story, all about a brave knight who challenged her dragon and won the gold hoard. For the first time, reading wasn't tiresome. It was amazing. When her grandfather saw her reading, she shook his head. "I'm not afraid of the book dragon," Rosehilda said. She read until it was so dark she wished she had that candle stub. She laid the book by her bed and slept. So that's Rosehilda laying in bed reading her new book. By morning, the book was gone. "The book dragon snatched it," her grandfather said. "We'll have to lock our windows tonight." Now the book dragon would terrorize the village, and it would be all Rosehilda's fault. She couldn't let that happen. She vowed to challenge the dragon and win her book back. When her grandfather left for work, Rosehilda climbed the narrow path up to Scrump Mountain. When she reached the dark cave at the top, she reminded herself that she wasn't afraid, although she wished again for that candle stub. That's her journey up the mountain. There, on an immense pile of books, perched the book dragon. She looked very large and extremely pointy. Most of all, she looked surprised. She looks very surprised. And look at that pile of books. Wow. That's a lifetime supply. "Give me back my book," Rosehilda demanded. "You snatched it from my room last night." "I beg your pardon," said the book dragon. "I can't help myself. I love books so much. I'm too large to live in the village, so books are all the company I have." "That's no excuse for stealing and terrorizing the village," Rosehilda said. "I only want to borrow books," the book dragon said. "But when I try to return them, the windows are locked. Everyone shrieks when I knock." Rosehilda understood why. The dragon was extremely pointy. "Since you came all this way, I'll give your book back now," the dragon said. The hoard was heaped with books in every color and size. Many were red, stamped with gold. Rosehilda didn't know which one was hers. Wow, large pile of books. Humongous. Rosehilda and the book dragon searched. They lined up the books in rows, sorted by subject and author. At the end of the day, they hardly made a dent in the hoard. Rosehilda hadn't found her book. "You can borrow a different one," the book dragon said. "I'll bring it back tomorrow," Rosehilda said. She borrowed a green book and read until dark. The next day, Rosehilda and the book dragon sorted and searched. They didn't find Rosehilda's book, so she borrowed a blue one. By the end of the week, nearly all the books stood in neat rows. The very last book was red, stamped with gold. "My book," said Rosehilda. "Now I won't need to come back." The book dragon looked less pointy than usual. "You could borrow another book," the book dragon said, "and come back tomorrow." "I have an even better idea," Rosehilda said. I wonder what her idea is. The next day, just as Mr. Percival was scraping a letter on the dirty window, a large and pointy shape appeared outside. The children gasped. Mr. Percival shrieked. Rosilda explained, "This is my friend, the book dragon. She brought our books back. She never meant to keep them." "After all," said the book dragon, "books are for reading, not hoarding." The villagers agreed. From that day forward, they let the book dragon lend the books from the library in Scrump Mountain. Everyone in Lesser Scrump read as much as they wanted without having to worry about a dragon snatching books in the middle of the night. And that's the official library. Unless, of course, they were overdue. So if the books were overdue, the dragon had to have the book back. I hope you enjoyed this very nice book.